Hey everyone, I wanted to talk about rejecting your purpose or parts of you in order to keep you safe. I've realized in my life that there are so many moments and parts of me that I have rejected because I didn't want that to be who I am. And it turns out it was just holding me back from my purpose, from who I am, who I'm meant to be. And honestly, it held me back from being happy. There are 3 specific times in my life where this happened, and we're gonna go through those. Before we get into the reasons that I actually pushed away who I truly am, I wanna talk about why we do that. There can be so many factors. There could be traumatic things that have happened to us that feel similar, or there's just a connection there. We could also just doubt who we are, doubt that we could ever do something that's that big, that's that important. I think for me, a lot of it was I didn't want these things to be a part of me because I was afraid. And I think a lot of us not following our path comes down to us being afraid. Sometimes it's afraid of the unknown, sometimes it's afraid of failure. Sometimes it's the fear of success, because when they look at people that are successful, they're like, well, I don't want their life. So understanding that you might be pushing away who you are, there's a reason for that. And it's figuring out why that's happening. So for me, I'll go through all of these things with you. The very first thing that I rejected was that I was a leader. So as a young child, I would lead, I would naturally lead. And I came to a point in my teens and like early adulthood where I was like, I don't want to do that. I didn't want the responsibility. I didn't think I could handle the responsibility. And I didn't want to be a leader. I never wanted to be a leader. And what I was really doing was blocking who I naturally was. Because if I get in a situation with someone, or let's say in a group setting, and no one's really saying anything, I generally step in. I don't do it consciously, but generally I'm like, okay, like let's figure something out. And I was pushing that part of me down because I was afraid to be a leader. I was afraid to be upfront. I was afraid to be the person that goes first, which, as you can see with the way my life is now, that's not the case. This whole job is about me going first, being the leader, figuring things out, doing things before everyone else to see what works, what doesn't work, or just showing that you can do something. It's been so many years since I've undone that I can't give you exact details about what changed after that point. I just realized that I was actually meant to lead people. And so if I continued to follow that fear and let that hold me back, that I wouldn't be here right now where I am. The second thing that I really pushed against for many years was being an entrepreneur. So my dad is an entrepreneur and he'd wanted me to work with him. And I was like, no, I don't want to do what you do, which is fair. I still don't. But I didn't want the responsibility, and you're hearing patterns already, of everything came down to me. I had to take care of everything. I had to figure out exactly what I would do all day and how to get clients and all of this. And I adamantly rejected that, like repeating myself, like, oh, I don't want to do that. I would tell people, I was like, I would never do that. I want to work for other people. Yet when I worked with other people, there was times, which we all have, I struggled to work with other people. I struggled with the decisions made above me. And I didn't feel like I would be able to be organized enough, because earlier years of my life, I was very disorganized, to be able to do something like that. And here we are. But actually, my journey of entrepreneurship did not start with my coaching business. It started with me selling vintage clothing. So when I worked at the seniors' home, I would sell clothes kind of just on the side. And once that job ended, I decided, well, now's the perfect time to like try this out and see how it is. And I think I did that for long enough and then started doing coaching that I realized I could never go back, that I was always meant to work for myself, that I can be disciplined enough to do it, and that I can make a living off of just me doing the work. And that was really exciting. And again, I wouldn't be sitting in this chair if I continued to reject that part of myself. The last area that I really rejected, I think more than anything, was accepting that I was gay. Long story short, grew up in a Christian home. You can kind of play it out from there. It wasn't necessarily safe, not in my home, but like safe in a general sense to come out. And I did not want that to be part of me. The moment I accepted that, it's like this thing that was there my whole life just washed away. And I was like, this is who I am. And you know what? After making that decision to come out, so many other decisions were easier because I trusted that no matter what, I would have my back. And I think that's the biggest part of these big decisions, realizing this is who I am. I need to accept this. I need to accept that I'm a leader. I need to accept that I'm an entrepreneur. I need to accept that I'm gay. And that was the path that was always meant for me. That without me being like, okay, yes, there's these things in front of me that at the time I wish weren't a part of me, are now some of my favorite parts of me. And continuing to reject who you are is just pushing you further away from your purpose and you having the life that you actually want. There's so many lives that are like subscribed to us by other people, and those were never meant to make you happy. That's not the point of them. Because if someone's trying to give you a certain cookie cutter life, they're getting something from that. What I want for you is to have the life that you actually want. Experience joy, experience what it's like to not have to wake up at the same time every morning to work for someone else, or to be in a relationship that sucks, or whatever that looks like for you. Maybe you want to foster a ton of dogs. I don't know. Whatever that dream is for you, that purpose, those things are meant for you, but you have to look and see if you're rejecting parts of yourself that are part of that dream. Things that you're afraid of. Yes, the unknown is scary. Your brain is wired to see it as scary because that's what's kept you safe. Comfort keeps you safe, even if your comfort and the things that you're doing you don't like, but your brain's like, well, we've survived this long, so this is working. But surviving is not life. There's so much more. And I want to help you find that. And so what I want you to do is sit down and consider, what are all these things that I'm having a hard time accepting about myself? And maybe some of those things that you don't want to accept, they maybe do have to change. But some of these things are just part of who you are. And knowing the difference between those two is so important. Because if I continue to reject all of these things, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be living my purpose. I wouldn't be talking to you guys. But there's other things that felt like a big part of me that I'm like, no, this needs some work. I need to work through this. I need to figure this out because I don't want this part of my future. So, thank you for coming along with me in all of this. And I will see you next week.